Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my first in a series of ranking videos based on each individual ranger color, primarily focusing on the original core 5 and probably 6 ranges and all green ranges. I'm not doing the whole video like this. I just want to say that I am planning on a series of these ranking and topic videos all throughout the year in honor of the 30th anniversary and beyond. However, I want to give a shout out to someone whose name I do not remember off the top of my head at the moment, but I'm going to put up a little screen grab of the comment for suggesting that I do these specific ranking videos, trying to lead up to Once and Always, but in all likelihood they're probably going to go past Once and Always because, you know, new news and videos get in the way of the schedule, much like I planned on having my team up reviews lead up to the Dino team up, and it went so far past we were almost at Once and Always. But anyway, let's get started with this video, guys, with my first ranking of top 5 Red Rangers. And as always with these videos, this is my personal list. This is not me saying this is the main list and I didn't run an algorithm. I wouldn't even know how to do that. I don't even believe in algorithms. So, coming in at first, some honorable mentions as per usual. Andros. Andros is a character I've always liked for an honorable mention. That makes it sound like I've always just like, one day I'm going to pick you for an honorable mention. No, but what I just mean is that I've always liked him. He just barely misses the top 5. I like that number 1, I think he represented 2 different things about In Space, which was he was a character involved in a much more serialized, complicated storyline compared to the previous era. But also I like the idea of a loner Red Ranger. You know, obviously you have stories and teamwork of PR all the time, but coming from the point of view of a character that's not used to working as a team is a good way to incorporate the teamwork messages while also having a character that doesn't feel like a goody two-shoes. Another honorable mention would be TJ. The only reason I'm putting him in the honorable mentions for this is because, spoiler alert, he's going to make it into the top 5 Blue Rangers, and I have my reasons that I prefer him as a Blue Ranger. I'll talk about that in the Blue Ranger video, but I want to highlight that he is one of my favorite PR characters of all time, and I think he's a great Red Ranger, and I love that they showed his leadership qualities and courage from his debut in a way that felt natural. I feel like in a lot of MMPR, they spend a lot of time telling you, MMPR era, telling you how good of people the characters are, and being like, hey, they donate to charity, they're good people. But I feel like the way they portrayed TJ and Selwyn's portrayal of the character, like when he rescued Tommy and Kat, it was such an organic way of showing that he'd be a good Red Ranger without being like, oh yeah, do I need to tell you about the bake sale for orphan kids? Okay, now getting into the actual top 5, starting off immediately with a hot take, Casey from Jungle Fury, who is a character that's actually grown on me more and more as the years have gone on. I think it's because I think he's just a really good rookie Red. You have a series of rookie Reds all throughout the history of the series, but I feel he's one of the ones where I most felt his progress as a character, where you really do start off just as this weird rookie. It is kind of weird that we put him in the position of leader, like RJ even says it, like, as a rookie. Like, I know he's Red, but it is weird. But I feel like it's not treated as like, well, everything's on you. It's kind of like they acknowledge that he is working, like, not just to be a Red Ranger, but also as a student, because he's not just a rookie Ranger, he's like a rookie student. He's like a white belt all of a sudden thrust into this situation. And so I like that they acknowledge that, and you see him actually grow, and I think that there is a noticeable maturity level and experience level difference from the early episodes Casey to the end. And he's just a character I've grown to like more and more. Not to mention I like the actor and how much he seemed to enjoy the role and coming back for Super Mega Force and feeling like that was a very natural continuation of his character as well. Number 4 is Scott from RPM. I've always really liked Scott because, from my point of view, he was kind of a unique spin on a by-the-books type of character. Like, you probably wouldn't think of him as a by-the-books type like Casey, but he sort of is that type, but like a by-the-books type character, but if he was cool. Like, he's just cool. Like, it's like the more of a rule follower, but not so rigid and like dorky and like a little bit more open-minded and willing to do risky things. And it was kind of an interesting take with his backstory too, where you have that classic story of like the brother was like the favorite and he's always second best. But like usually when you have those situations, it's always like the favorite golden child brother and then the troublemaker brother. But in this case, they were both like in a similar lane. Like they were both like good people, like soldiers, whatever. And for whatever reason, he just didn't measure up. And that was, the way they handled that was a little more interesting and realistic, and I thought. And I just always really liked Scott. I thought he was really cool, but likable. And for me, like I said, my perception was he was a different spin on a more by-the-books character. Like, the way he went toe-to-toe with Dylan in their early rivalry scenes was more like two badasses having rivalry and not like the bad boy character and like the milquetoast boring character, like Carter. I'm sorry, I just don't like Carter. Like, seriously, it's like propaganda. The dude is like buttered toast, if it was a character. Anyway, I'm probably gonna get some hate for that, but I get a lot of hate all the time. Anyway, number 3, Wes from Time Force. I really like Wes. I think, first of all, I just like Wes's personality. Like, from the beginning, I thought he just had a really fun personality. I like how much he was enjoying what was happening. Like, I always remember when he first put on the Morpher, or was it the second time? It might have been the second time, and he just goes, woo! I'm sorry about that. But I just liked that. He had this really fun energy about it, and I feel like his character kind of embodied, because of his storyline, the core themes of the series about making your own destiny. And he was also a good rookie Red in this. I say like that just because he wasn't like a completely inexperienced kid, but obviously he was inexperienced in the Ranger world. But you really get to see him grow and mature into a secondary leader role with the team. And he was just a fun character to watch that with, and there was also a noticeable difference in his maturity level based on his upbringing and his character. And he also was just a really fun and likable character to watch. Number 2, runner-up, maybe an unconventional pick, is Conor from Dino Thunder. This is a character that I've always liked, but of all things, it was the Neo Saban era of the franchise that made him one of my favorite Reds. How is that possible? Because Neo Saban is filled with goody two-shoes mannequins from Pleasantville, and that's an insult to the movie Pleasantville, which is better than every Neo Saban season. But that's the way it feels. Like, they were using that MMPR goody-goody formula, but to an even higher degree, where the characters felt like mannequins, they didn't feel like real people. Again, they had this overly idealized version of what it is to be a good person, and it made me appreciate the flawed characters of the past, in particular in the Disney era. And I think Conor is one of the best examples of that, because when we meet him, he's kind of detective douche, and he's like, even by the end of the series, still has those tendencies. And I think it's much more inspiring to see a character that has these flaws and is even kind of a jerk actually become a better person and see those like heart of gold quality moments. I think that's more inspiring than creating this idealistic character that you almost shames you for not being as good a person as they are. And what I like about his development too is it's not perfect. You do see a noticeable difference by the end of the series and how much he's become a better person and a leader, but he's not like suddenly cured. It's not like by the end of the series, you know, he started off as Conor and then at the end he's all of a sudden Dudley Do-Right. Like, even near the end of the series, you have that arc with Krista where he's pretending to care about the tree because he wants to nail her. Like, that's weird saying that in a Power Rangers video. And then, like, he feels bad about it. And that showed character growth, but it showed that he's still Conor and he's still got, like, a ways to go. So, I don't know. I've really started to appreciate his character as a good example of a flawed Red improving on himself. But number 1 for me is the Boom Comics version of Jason. I've always liked Jason Fine. We're talking about Jason Voorhees, right? No, but like normal Jason Fine. I'll be honest, I've always been a Stone Canyon Trio type person. I mean, to be fair, I do prefer Jason to Rocky, even when I was younger. But just in general, the Stone Canyon characters were more I was used to, and I never liked Jason all that much. But the comics really got me to appreciate the character more. And it actually got me to appreciate show Jason more. But the reason I like comic Jason more is because, like all the comic characters, he's an actual character. But no, for real, I think they took the qualities that, to be fair, show Jason did have, which I think is he does have a really good, strong, inspiring leadership presence. One of my favorite PR scenes is that, you know, even if there's a 1% chance, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. Wait, that's not the one. But the line about even if there's the smallest chance of victory, we have to take it. And I also feel that in the show, they did show that he would feel the weight of the responsibility of leader. I do remember multiple times him apologizing to Tommy about not being able to stop his powers from being drained. And I think they took those core qualities of his heroics, his leadership, the fact that like the you know, heavy is the head that wears the crown type of thing, or in this case the helmet, and they put all that into the character and made it a deeper character. I think for a lot of people when they think about like the Red Ranger, like a kind of just core example, they think of Jason, and this is what I think of now when I think of the comic version. And he's not perfect either. He makes mistakes, but I think he's a good leader and his heart's always in the right place, and I think he really, you can feel the weight of that responsibility on his head to the point where sometimes he questions whether he should even be doing it, even though I think the Ranger world is more valuable with him in it. Not to mention they had a really interesting backstory they added to this version of Jason, which is kind of similar to Conor, is he actually used to be a bully, and he had this moment where he had like, I guess, broke this kid's bow, and it was this moment he realized that he was being a bad person, and that's when he decided to reform and get into karate, and that's why Zordon chose him, because he had this added perspective, which I think was really cool. And he's just become one of my favorite characters, and it really made me appreciate show Jason, but comic Jason even more, as like my favorite Red Ranger, and who I think is one of the best Red Rangers. But that is just my list. I will be continuing this series, hopefully getting at least a decent chunk of them done and out before Once and Always. But let me know what your favorite Red Rangers are in the comments again. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.